Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everyone's doing good. Hope everyone can hear me okay. How's the audio? Can I get a 5x5? 5x5. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate that. Hope everyone is doing good this evening. I just want to make sure that we're rocking and rolling and everyone is doing good. Had a very interesting weekend, which I'll talk about in another session. I was down in LA most of this weekend and late part of last week, and still playing a wee bit of catch up, but some very interesting stuff on the horizons. Every time I go and network with people, marketers, millionaires, billionaires, and multinational corporations and CEOs, all sorts of interesting insights occur. I'm going to share a few of those with you here this evening, and we're going to basically some observational stuff with the differences between the average person and millionaires. So I'm going to talk a little bit tonight about mindset, about things that millionaires and billionaires do that the average person doesn't. Now, it's a very interesting fact that the human brain is the ultimate computer. Now, I'm not going to go geeky here, but the cool thing is that from the very moment we're born, we are trained for one specific purpose. And each and every one of us here, many, many different age groups and everything here, we're all designed to do one thing. And it's kind of a interesting thing, but we are programmed to basically learn, get one of those job things and then retire. And that's it. And then what comes after that? Well, that's what we call the RIP syndrome. That's not really much of a life. In amongst all of this, we have to learn how to live. Okay? All the way through school, we're taught to learn. We spend 20 years learning, maybe a little bit more if you're in college. By the time you get into the workforce, you're working your butt off for 40 years. If you're lucky, you get another 20 plus years in retirement if you're lucky. But back in the old days, so to speak, you had right about, if you imagine this is your timeline, right about here was where you jump to this next stage. It's not exactly the way I want to, not the way I want to be, not the way that entrepreneurs are. Entrepreneurs like us have a different mindset, and we grow every single day towards a different thing. And Don, you've mentioned a great point there, is we're trained to follow, not lead. We're followers. Now, there's a great analogy that I heard this weekend, which is the difference. And I'm going to. I talked about this in a platinum session the other day, but the difference between conforming, and excuse my dog, and transforming. Conforming does mean to follow. Transforming means to cross. For example, transatlantic, transcontinental, trans kicking my dog's butt if she starts barking again. But it means to cross from one group to another, or one place to another. Entrepreneurs, millionaires, we transform. We don't want to conform with what the average is. The average sucks. Did you know the average American right now, when they retire, has about $2,500 in savings? That's it. If they're lucky, they have retirement. But then again, honestly, who's going to rely on retirement? So that is why we are transformers. We are entrepreneurs. And I'm not talking about Optimus Prime. We are transformers. So there's a heck of a difference. But one thing that entrepreneurs, internet marketers, business owners, we all have one thing in mind. We all need to grow. And we're not just talking about well, my waistline here, we're talking about our minds, the best computers that can be reprogrammed. The problem is most people avoid this like the plague. It's like sitting on the couch with a giant 500-pound bag of Cheetos watching Kim Kardashian. If you're not exercising that muscle, it ain't going to last too long, and it's going to do some very interesting things. Now, I know we've got Jerry out there who's thinking that watching Kim Kardashian could be actually kind of interesting, but you know what I mean. And you've got to look at, okay, what am I going to do? I mean, it's like if I wanted to go run a marathon, which isn't happening anytime soon, okay, I'm going to say that right off the bat. But if I wanted to go run a marathon, I'd have to learn how to take things in stages. I'd have to get my butt back in gear so I could run 1 mile. Then over time, with a lot of training, I'd take it to 3 to 5 miles, then 10 miles. And then probably I would get up to 15 or do these multiple times a week until I could do the full 26 and half or a quarter miles. There is only so many things you can't, you're not just going to say, you know what, I'm going to go and run that marathon right now. You would die within the first mile. If you pushed it past that, well, you'd probably just collapse of dehydration and exhaustion. Tim, would you be able to put those dogs away? Because they're barking outside. I know he's barking outside the window and stuff. It's been a pain in the butt. So we decided to leave our dogs out for a change because they're usually just crying when we put them away. Well, they've decided to be a pain in the butt today. So, so with that being said, you know, when you're growing, you have to start off. You walk before you run, not run before you walk. Kind of an interesting analogy. We all start off not able, before we can even run a mile, we've got to be able to walk. We've got to know, first of all, you've also got to know where you're going to run to, where the course is that you're going to run, but you've got to start somewhere. And that's where we all are. I mean, if you told me 10 years ago I'd be doing what I'm doing now, I'd have laughed. I wouldn't have believed it. Now, where I know where I'm going now, I've got my goals, and every successful entrepreneur, business owner, millionaire, and billionaire know exactly what they want to achieve. So goal setting is critical. But we're talking primarily about mindset. And one thing I talk a lot about is what's called the herd mentality. And this is very much, as Don correctly identified, we're talking about followers rather than shepherds. As entrepreneurs, as business owners, as leaders, as managers, we are the shepherds. And the average person is quite content being part of the herd. That's why a herd exists. It's average. It's you're not doing anything wrong to stand out from the crowd. You're fine with who you are, what you are. And the one thing you'll find the average person is full of is excuses. Oh, well, I can't succeed because, well, the weather, or, well, I don't know. I've heard that those evil CEOs and business owners, they're destroying our country. Well, you know, just things like that. You know, as well, this, well. If anyone starts off a conversation with, well, you're in trouble. Entrepreneurs are not average, they are exceptional. They don't accept excuses. You can't. If you accept an excuse, you're just going to push yourself right back into the herd. And once you're outside of the herd, the last thing you want to do is go back to it. One of the things I heard this weekend, which is a great way to explain this, and it was a great analogy that I'm officially stealing from the speaker, was when you speak to an average person, even if they're positive, they say things like, well, I'm doing okay under the circumstances. Well, okay, so this is the circumstance right here, okay? And you're under the circumstances. If you're under the circumstances, run. Because entrepreneurs, business owners, millionaires, they are over the circumstances. They don't let anything get in their way. Doesn't matter what happens. Well, the IRS just decided to audit me. Oh, well, still keep making money. Oh, well, we actually had an earthquake and the building collapsed. Oh, well, time to get another building. Entrepreneurs will find a way. Successful millionaires, billionaires, they will find a solution. Every problem presents an opportunity. And if you've got a pen and paper, which each and every one of you should have, write that down. Every problem presents an opportunity. Prime example. Say for a friend of mine, they were in New Zealand. Their office got hit with an earthquake. Now, New Zealand hadn't had an earthquake for over 100 years. And this earthquake destroyed their office. And there was actually two businesses in the same building. One of them just quit. They said, you know what? My building, my office is destroyed. All of my equipment was in there. I've got my insurance, but you know what? I spent 20 years building that business. I quit. I've had enough. Now, they were in very similar businesses. The guy next to him saw that, okay, crap. Yeah, all my equipment was in there. My entire business was in there. Crap, what am I going to do? You know what? I'm going to buy the other half of the remains of this building from the guy who just sold up. He's now flattened it, made it a car park, and he started his business back in his home. All of his employees who were not at work at the time now work from home. So he's running exactly the same business, teleworking, working through Skype and the internet, and now he's literally leveled that one area, which is right in the middle of one of the main cities in New Zealand, and now he has a car park. No building to collapse in case there's an earthquake. He just demolished everything that was there, flattened it, and now he's got a car park right next to one of the busiest malls in New Zealand, which is out there. So turned adversity into opportunity. The other guy is now kicking himself that he didn't think of that himself. But every entrepreneur will find a way. That is one of the things that you can do. You've just got to look at everything and see, okay, what's the angle? Now, there's a huge difference between what school teaches and what life teaches. Now, I'm going to use an analogy now this is a thing I've seen in the United States, which I didn't see so much in Scotland where I come from. I come from a very remote part of Scotland. They probably do it in UK schools now as well. But school teaches you that they try and push you into, well, I'm going to call it the participation trophy mindset. Basically, you're a winner just for showing up. Okay, I'm writing partition. Okay, I'm thinking hard drives here. So, participation trophies. So you've got a race of 10 people. One person's a winner, second person's silver, third person is bronze, and everyone else gets a trophy just for turning up. Even if they ran the opposite direction around the track or just sat on the line thinking, yeah, I'm going to get a medal anyway, so I'll just sit right here. School is teaching that to our next generation, that you're a winner even if you don't do anything. Life teaches you, if you take that mindset into life, you are smacked in the face like a wet kipper by life. And you suddenly find out, wow, this is vastly different than they will ever tell me. Why is this? This isn't what they told me at school. School never prepares you for life. Life prepares you for life, but you've got to live it. The problem is, we're now jailed in many ways behind jobs, behind our working for the man. Well, that's what I'm doing. You know, how many times have you heard the phrase, another day, another dollar? Well, that's the average response. Another day, another opportunity to live, to do something different, to work towards my goals, my dreams. One of the things you'll find most millionaires, billionaires, and the most successful business owners have is a why. Now you will find, and this is an interesting little statistic, 93% of people don't have a why. They don't know why they're alive, okay? They have no idea, they have no dreams, or they have dreams and goal, or they have dreams, but it's only because they hope for the lottery or something like that that's going to happen. They're waiting for life to happen to them. Well, I just won $1 million or $50 million on the lottery, but what happens to these people within 5 years? They're gone. Boom. They're back to broke, living in a trailer. You have to have a why. Why are you alive? Why do you want to run your own business? Why? What is your driving? What is your desire? For me, I want to change the world. And there's a phrase, I quote it a lot from Terminator 2, there is no fate but that which we make. If you don't like life, change it. If you don't like your house, what do? You paint it, you change it. If you don't like your car, you get rid of it, sell it, buy another one, buy a different one. Or if you don't want to do that, you soup it up, customize it. Life is moldable around you. Everything you do, everything you see, everything that you're experiencing right now that you're frustrated about, you can change it. You are the agent of your own change. You are the agent of everything that's happening around you. Your family, your friends, your business, your job, your mindset, everything is influenced by your attitude. Everything is influenced by your mindset and your desire. Now, people tell me all the time, okay, that all sounds great, Sean, but how do I succeed? You'll find a way. This is what most people don't get. It's like, well, I need a path. I need to know what to do. Well, you know what? I can tell you what to do. Doesn't mean it's going to apply specifically to you because everyone is different. Excuse me, sneeze. Oh, excuse me. But everyone is different. Every circumstance. There are so many variables that I can give you a guide. I can tell you, you know what? Build 50 websites. Do this, do this, do this. There's so many variables involved that doesn't guarantee anything. Anyone who guarantees you money or success or anything is quite likely full of crap. The only person that can achieve your success is you. If you want to achieve success, success comes from within, from where your heart is, from where your mind is, from your determination, perseverance. Here's another analogy that I use to explain the principles of success. Muhammad Ali, one of the most legendary boxers of all time. The one thing you do not want to stand in front of is a right hook from Muhammad Ali, because it'll put you on your ass. However, how many times do you think Muhammad Ali was put on his ass from the time he started becoming a boxer? He didn't just become a champion heavyweight boxer and the ultimate boxer in the world. Everyone, you mention any name, but like any boxer as an example, most of the time people think of people like Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali, because these are the most known boxers in the world. But every single champion, everyone who's achieved success has been set down on their asses time and time again and had their noses broken. Doesn't matter whether you fell on your ass or on your face. The thing is, each and every time one of those boxers got knocked down, they got their asses back up. Even if they were down for 10 seconds and out for the count, they got back up. They got back in the ring for the very next fight. Now, I can't tell you how many people, when they get knocked down, said, oh, screw that. I ain't doing that again. I don't want to be a champion that bad. I'm going to go back and flip burgers. I'm going to go back and I'm going to go back to my job and push pens around and stuff like that. If you want it bad enough, you will get back up. You'll put back on those gloves. You'll climb over those ropes and jump in the ring and look at your opponent, whatever that is, whatever that roadblock is in your life that's stopping you from succeeding and moving forward. And then you go all Bruce Lee on them, just kind of beckon them over. Come on, let's do it. It's all about that determination to get in there. If your why is strong enough, you'll get back in that ring every time you fall down, because you know that why is going to be so strong. It needs to be so strong. And if you don't have a why, ask yourself why you don't have a why. I hear from a lot of people say, well, my why is I just want to make money. Why do you want to make money? What is your driving force? Why do you want to make money? What are you going to do with that money? Maybe you're living in an apartment and you want to live in a house. You want to own a house. Maybe you've got parents that you want to help retire. Maybe you've got kids you want to leave some, basically some money behind for when you pass on. Maybe your why is just the fact you want to provide for your family, for the people around you, for the people you love. Maybe you're sick and tired of where you are right now and you want to take it to the next level. Maybe you're already successful, but you've got dreams and you want to do even more. If that's your why, then that's perfectly valid. Any one of those is a valid why. It's not just about I want more money. What are you going to do with that money? What are you going to do with that life? What are you going to do with the success? Some people's why is, I just want to be able to travel the world and not care about what's going on around me. Fine. That's a perfectly valid why. It takes money. It takes time. You've got to think about all the things that'll do that. But if that's your why, you will find a way. I'll give you a prime example. One person I was speaking to this morning, this weekend, was telling me, I asked them what was their why. They said they wanted to travel the world. So that's why I'm using this as an example. And I said, you could probably do that tomorrow. And they looked at me like I was on crack. And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, if you started your own business online and your own e-commerce store, as long as you've got a laptop and an internet connection or a cell phone signal, you can run that business online. You could travel tomorrow. You could jump on a plane and start traveling. Now, they had a business, but it wasn't really online. They were selling obscure kind of ornaments and things like that. And said, well, if you work at it, you can put all of that online right now, automate it, sell it through Amazon, sell it through eBay, set your own store up, what have you. But you will have the ability, you could automate most of your entire business and then travel wherever you want to go. Again, penny dropped. And they suddenly saw that their why was achievable. It's the same with anyone. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be an internet marketer or affiliate marketer or product owner. There's many, many different ways that you can achieve your why, but you just have to understand what your why is, and then the solution will present itself. Because if you focus on your why, what that actually follows and what that should follow and what's going to take to get there, you start noticing patterns. You will start seeing, it's like if you go out on a highway and you see a nice, beautiful red Mustang, and you think, I wouldn't mind a Mustang, they're beautiful cars, and then all of the cars you suddenly see are Mustangs. It's not that there's any more Mustangs, it's just that your mind is tuned into that desire, and you start seeing Mustangs everywhere. It's just the way it goes. It's enhanced neural recognition. I'm sorry, I had to remember the exact phrase to get it right. It's enhanced neural recognition. Now, one of the other things that a lot of people suffer with is it's basically the transition. Now, I don't know if you guys saw the other day, but there was a guy who decided he was going to tightrope walk across the Grand Canyon, okay? Absolutely insane, had a 1,400-foot drop, which is apparently about as tall as the Empire State Building. And this is a perfect analogy of success, if you think about this. Because when you start off, this is basically average life. And if you imagine success is all the way across the Grand Canyon and all you have to do is cross this tightrope, very few people would do it. And I'll be quite honest, if it was only as thick as this tightrope, I wouldn't have done it. Now, if you blindfold that person and you make it a little easier by widening the bridge, people wouldn't be so hesitant to cross that. And they wouldn't worry about the drop. They might have a clue that there's a bit of danger, but they wouldn't know exactly how much. Now, it's not saying you should blindfold people, but I'm going to tell a wee bit of a joke. Okay. And for those who are in the Platinum Mastermind, they know this joke, so don't spoil the punchline. So, okay. There's a billionaire, and he's holding this huge, huge party. And he says, you know what? I want everyone to come. I'm going to give away my entire fortune. And as you can imagine, anyone who heard about this was there. There were literally thousands upon thousands of people came to this party. And it was a great big gathering at a mansion. Everyone was there. Music was going. Drinks were flowing. Everything was absolutely fantastic. And then towards the end of the evening, the anticipation was growing and growing. And then suddenly there was this great big metal gong. Boing! And then the billionaire appeared on the balcony above where everyone was drinking and said, okay, here we go. Everyone is going to have an opportunity to win my entire fortune. And here's how we're going to do it. And he presses this little button, and the floor amongst the dance hall opens up. And everyone suddenly sees this giant swimming pool. And everyone's like, oh my God, this is great, this is great. Okay, this is, what's going to happen? And they said, okay, what's going to happen in a minute? I'm going to hit this gong. You've got to jump in and swim to the other side. He says, but there's one catch. He says, and he presses a button. And suddenly, there's crocodiles, sharks, piranhas, sea snakes, everything in this pool. He says, okay, gong, go. Not a person moves. Thousands of people on this side stay still. In fact, what they did was they backed away from the edge of that pool. They said, oh, screw this. No, no, no. And they waited. No one stepped forward. The billionaire, he hung his head, shook his head. He was very, very disappointed. Very disappointed. And he was just about to give up when suddenly there's this splash. And this little kid was in the water. Boom, 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 swimming his little heart out. Just going like the clappers. Just like a little rocket. Whoa! Just swimming his heart out. And he made it to the other side and he got out. And he was absolutely amazed. And the billionaire comes down to him. He goes, okay, wow, one person, you've restored my faith in humanity. So here's how we do it. There's 3 prizes. First prize, you get all my cash right now. I have about $1 billion in the bank. You can have my cash. Second prize, you get all my real estate. You can get all my real estate in the world. Third prize, it's my daughter. You can marry my daughter, and she was absolutely gorgeous. And so he goes down and says, you have restored my faith. This is absolutely amazing. He says, but one thing. Before you choose your prize, he hits a switch. And suddenly, all of the danger that was in the pond, in the pool, vanishes. It was a hologram. There was no real danger. And you could hear the collective sigh and the cries of frustration and how unfair it was and everything else from all of the other people. The billionaire ignored them and looked down to the boy. He goes, boy, you jumped in You took the risk when no one else would. So pick your prize. What would you like? Would you like all of my cash? He goes, sir, no, sir. No, thank you, sir. I don't want the cash. He goes, you're a clever kid. I can see why. I can see. Okay, good. You know that with my real estate, you want prize number 2 because you know that real estate will hold its value and will produce residual income over a long period of time. He goes, no, sir. No, sir. I don't want number 2. Thank you. He goes, oh, you really are a clever kid. Can't believe you're only 12 years old. You want my daughter's hand in marriage. You want my daughter's hand in marriage because you know by marrying my daughter, you're going to get number 1 and number 2. And he shakes his head and says, no, sir, she's a lovely woman, but no, I don't want to marry your daughter. And he looks down at the boy, puzzled. He goes, well, that's the 3 prizes. What do you want? The little boy looks up and says, I want to know who the hell pushed me in. So, success is all about getting out your comfort zone. It's all about knowing what's ahead of you. It's all about taking a leap of faith. It's all about any perceived risk, the dangers, anything else that's going on. Doesn't matter what is in front of you. You've got to have the courage to get in the water and just go for it. Because how many times have you heard people say, take action? It's true. The reason we say this is because procrastination is a disease. It truly is the disease. It's the cancer of success. You know what? I'll get to it tomorrow. You know what? I was going to do that, but my favorite TV show was on. You know what? I heard about that. That's a really great book, but I'm going to wait for the movie. You know what? I wanted to do that. I really wanted to do that, and it was on my list. It was on my list, which is scruffled up on a piece of handkerchief that I stuffed in the back pocket of the pants I just washed. And now it's ruined, and I don't remember what else on this list. Procrastination is a cancer. So we do always encourage people to take action. Millionaires, billionaires, SEOs, there is no excuse for inaction. Now, if you have a list or a to-do list and you've got things you need to do, you tackle them. You jump into them. They become an obsession. There's nothing wrong with being OCD about money or success or the tasks you've got to do. It's all about getting things done. There's a movie. What was it? Was it Wall Street with Michael Douglas? And there was a whole joke about greed is good. Yeah. Well, no, it was Gordon Gekko was the name of the character, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, you know what? Greed is the wrong word. Desire, drive is good. The rest, cash, success, wealth, stability, comes later. It comes along with it. It happens as a side effect. Another way I like to describe it is a cyclone. Cyclone starts off in the middle, and it's a spinning, very fast spinning column of air. If you think about this, it starts off small, and then wider and wider and wider. Thing is, the center here is the fastest point, right here, because it's spinning around so fast. And then as it gets wider, it slows down. But there's a lot of power and momentum and weight at this point. But it starts off with that immediate, fast action. And that in the middle is you. You're the only one who can create this momentum. You're the one who sits in the middle wanting to try and get things going. Now, you could try and start at the top and keep massive momentum and then get faster and faster, but you'll burn out. You've got to start off in the middle. The only person who is responsible for your success is you. Doesn't matter what strategy, what plugin you've purchased, what training you've got. None of this will make you successful. None of this will make you rich. There's not a single system on this entire planet that will do the work for you. Doesn't matter what it is. It really doesn't. Now, there are systems. They can simplify things. There are strategies that give you a great guide map forwards. But ultimately, the only person who is able to make you successful is you. Now, there's a couple of things before we go over to the live questions, but there's basically 3 areas, actually 4 areas that all entrepreneurs who want to be incredibly successful need to focus on. There's IQ. And we kind of talked about this. This is your base intelligence. Now, it doesn't matter if you're, I'm not a smart guy. I don't consider myself a smart guy. I consider myself okay. I do okay. I did okay at school, but I wouldn't consider myself incredibly smart because I'm dumb as a brick in these other areas that I'm about to share with you. Because there's several other areas that every entrepreneur, millionaire, and billionaire grows in. IQ, this is academic, okay? Your academic IQ is kind of determined through your school, your education, and everything else. And you might be, there's a good area of genetics in here, and maybe, you know, environmental effects that affect your overall intelligence, but you can increase this by exercising your brain. Read books. Study stuff. Learn something new every day. Hey, study stuff that's not Kim Kardashian. You know, get out there, live, learn, test yourself, push yourself. All of that is exercising your mental synapses. It's literally firing up those neurons, getting your neurons off the couch and on the treadmill. That is going to help you. I mean, there's a one thing I've said a lot of times before is you should try and read one nonfiction book every week. Especially if it's in your area of business or interest and passion. Because I'll tell you right now, if you read one book a week, that's 50 books a year. The average American reads one book a year, which means you're getting 50 times the exercise that the average American has. Now, I'll tell you right now, you read 50 books in a year, you're going to be a damned expert in the top 10% of your industry if you read and absorb that knowledge. That's going to skyrocket your overall IQ. But it also is going to very much make you intelligent in your specific area of business. Another thing, the other ones are EIQ, SIQ, and FIQ. Now, you might not have heard of these 3, but these 4 successful people, millionaires, billionaires, and entrepreneurs who are highly successful, are the ones they don't teach you about at school, and they're the ones that are often the hardest ones to master. They are emotional IQ is number 1. Social IQ, these kind of merge a little bit, but I'm going to explain the difference. And then financial IQ. Now, your emotional IQ is part of what we've been talking about here today, your mindset. What determines how you react to situations? How many times have you hit a problem and just wanted to give up? And everyone's been through that. I don't care if they're the most successful millionaire in the world. Everyone wants to give up at some stage. How many times has Donald Trump been bankrupt? He actually filed for bankruptcy in the 90s, had nothing. And everyone absolutely lambasted him. They vilified him. and absolutely everything. He lost everything, but didn't stop him. He rebuilt everything and is now, even from the 90s, he's up to now, is more wealthy than ever before. And he did it without stopping. I'm sure during all that, he just wanted to say, you know what, screw this. He got married with Ivana Trump, got divorced. She took him to the cleaners. That's enough to make you want to give up right there. But he didn't. Got to look at people who you use as mentors. Look at their attitudes. There is absolutely nothing wrong with finding your own way forward, but certainly nothing wrong with looking at the successful people and how they handle situations. I mean, I've got a couple of people in the inner circle which one of their phrases is WWSD. What would Sean do? And it's fine if that's if and I do hope I am a role model for many of you, but that's exactly it's how you handle your emotions. Do you get angry? Do you get pissed off? Do you get determined? Do you knuckle down and say, you know what, I'm going to damn well do this. I don't care what it takes. There's a roadblock, fine. Through it, over it, around it, explode it, whatever I need to do. How am I going to do this? Well, you know what? Well, under the circumstances, I'm going to go do something else. Which kind of person are you? You've got to honestly answer that to yourselves right now. And I'll give you an example. And I want you to do this in front of your computers. You can look over your shoulder to see if anyone's looking right now. But I want you to all put your right arm and raise your right arm as high as you can. Right now. Do it right now. Okay, higher. Now, how many of you right now, and Tam's doing it. Thank you, Tam. I appreciate the visual. How many of you, when I said now higher, raised it just that little bit higher? You stretched yourself, you put your shoulder up just that little bit. I'm going to tell you right now, for most people, people are saying, right through there, I did. It's a great little psychological exercise. Something I use on stage is that little extra bit of effort is what separates the successful from the people who just try. And Ivan said he even stood up. Ivan, I salute you, sir. That is absolutely brilliant. And that is the difference between people who want to succeed, who have the drive to succeed. And you know what? It only takes that little extra bit to make you, each and every one of you in this inner circle, that much more exceptional. Now, another one that we talk about is social IQ. Now, here's the thing. Social IQ means how you react to people around you, your ability to communicate, your ability to network, to develop and maintain relationships, the way you treat people around you. And I think now you guys have an advantage in that you're part of the inner circle. You are surrounded by people who have drive, the will to succeed. They have perseverance. I can write all these words down, but I'm running out of this circle here. But you get the idea. You are surrounded by people who are going places. They want to get there. They want to succeed. They are successful. We've got people who are making six-figure incomes and beyond in the inner circle. People who have huge incomes that have overcome massive odds to be where they are. And we've got people who are just starting out. There's a very famous, I think it's Jim Rohn who said this. He says that you are the average of the people you surround yourself with. So if you surround yourself with people who are broke, guess what? You're quite likely broke or you're struggling. If you surround yourself with millionaires, billionaires, or successful people, it's like a magnet. You elevate yourself because we are social creatures. We adapt to our surroundings. We absorb information by osmosis. We absorb attitudes. We absorb, we reprogram our brains. That's how the human race has survived from the Sahara Desert to Tibet, the coldest parts of the Everest, you know, in the mountains of the Himalayas. It's how we survived in South America and all the way up to north, you know, the tip of Canada with the Eskimos and the Inuit Indians. It's amazing. The human species is the most adaptable creature on the planet. So you surround yourself with successful people who are driven, you are going to elevate yourself. If you learn to communicate better, there's nothing wrong with learning to communicate better. I come from a country where we invented the English language, but I barely speak it. No one can understand me when I've had a wee bit of the old, let's just say the liquid gold. There's not a one of you that will be able to understand a damn word I say because I slip into raw Scotch just to emulate the drink inside of me. But, you know, again, doesn't matter. We adapt. When I'm relaxed and I'm around, you know, back, you know, talking to my brothers, my wife chuckles at me because my accent drops back to Scottish for the whole day until I purposely switch back to something you guys can understand, and she can too. We are adaptable creatures, and that's part of our social intelligence. So surround yourself with successful people. Surround yourself with people who have success, and you will adapt to that socially. The last one is financial IQ. A lot of people, if I gave you all, okay, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Say the giant bank of Sean Donahoe was issuing out $1 million check right now. And each and every one of you, I was going to pay $1 million. What's the first thing you would do with it? What would you buy? What would you get? What would be the first thing that you would get? It doesn't matter if it doesn't cost $1 million. What would you do right now with that $1 million? Put it in the thing. Real estate. There we go. We've got some people there. Perfect. Okay. Put it in the bank. Okay. You got people say, hire you to train me. Well, it'll probably cost you $1 million. So there you go. Single malt scotch. There you go. That's from Jerry. That's funny stuff. Bonds. That's from Fabio. Interesting. Marry the daughter of the guy with the pool. Like that one, Tracy. That's funny. In the bank. Pay off debt. Okay, great. These are all great things. And that's someone else saying pay off debt. Okay. Great stuff, guys. Great. Now, not one of you, which I am very grateful for, and Leonard said knowledge, and buy ads. There you go. Trip down to LA and onto your mastermind class. There you go. Awesome stuff. Good. Not one of you said, I'd buy a Ferrari, or I'd buy a big house and everything else and all the rest of it. That gives me hope. And Jerry, a good bottle of single malt scotch, you'll have plenty of money left over. I'll let you off with that extravagance. But no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You guys have the right mindset. Every dollar you have is like an employee without a job. Every dollar you make, every piece of money, doesn't matter whether you're in a job right now, if you work for yourself, if you're doing well, or if you're not doing well. Your attitude towards money is what's going to separate you from everyone else around you. And Tracy, you actually came up with the right person with the right quote. And I couldn't remember who said it and the exact quote. But it is, you are the average of the 5 people you spend most time with. And that was Jim Rohn. So I thank you for that, Tracy. But you've got to make money work for you. You are the boss. It's your money. Send them out to work. Doesn't matter whether you're doing investments. And Fabio, you mentioned bonds. Be careful of the bond market right now. Bonds have lost, and there's a lot of uncertainty in bonds right now. So anyone who's investing, be careful of the bond market. There's been a massive drop in the last 2 to 3 months in the bond market, and it's going to keep going down. So just be aware of that. Speak to your financial advisor. Put it this way, if the stock market dropped like the bond market has in the last few months, there would be mass panic and murders on the street. But yes, in learning how to invest, how to make that money work, whether it's buying assets. Now, I don't mean buying real estate or buying things that you think are assets. You've got to look at things that actually make you money. So if a real estate investment actually costs you money and it's not paying you back, that's not an asset, that's a liability. You've got to think about things, what can you do as growing your net worth? What things can you do that's going to pay you money? One of the greatest ways to be an investor is actually running your own business because it generates you money. Maybe you start multiple businesses. Maybe you learn how to run multiple streams of income. If you build a website that turns a profit, that's an asset. If you run a business, offline, online, consulting, or what have you, if you have systems in place that help you automate it, it's an asset. If you have investments in real estate or the stock market, I wouldn't trust a bank with my money except that's a place where I have to pay out from. Otherwise, my money would not be in a bank. They don't pay you very good interest. Even CDs are minimalized. Learning about money, how money works, how it operates, how it's created. I mean, we are a fiat economy. We print money. Your money, your $1 right now in your hand, if you take out $1 from your wallet, is worth 20% less than it was just 5 years ago. That's like taking a pair of scissors and chopping off 1/5 of your dollar and hoping it's the same. Because we're printing money and we're going to keep printing money. If you learn how money works, money will work for you. So start studying how money works, attitudes. What do rich people do that you don't? You'll be surprised. You will think, well, millionaires, they're the most, they just blow money. All they're doing is partying every night. Well, some people are. I'll give you a prime example. This is one of my favorite examples right now. Lindsay Lohan. You look at people like Lindsay Lohan, absolute child stars, all Disneyfied, and what happens as soon as they're done with what they're doing and they've been thrown to the curb, they were never prepared for what success threw on them. They weren't emotionally ready, they weren't socially ready, and they certainly weren't financially ready. And that's why you end up seeing them half the time in rehab. I mean, Miley Cyrus right now, Hannah Montana, the ultimate nicey nice girl, is now bragging on Jimmy Kimmel how much pot she smokes and she could outdo Snoop Dogg. And that was one of the idols that we throw out there for our daughters and our sisters, the younger generation to look at as a role model. That's not someone I would want my daughter looking at as a role model, or Kim Kardashian. And I've been bagging on Kim Kardashian all evening, but you know what? She deserves it. So if you're a Kim Kardashian fan or a Kardashian fan, I apologize for what I'm about to say next. She is a waste of flesh. Now, she married, or she's had a kid with Kanye West, called her kid Northwest. Okay, fine, whatever. But how did she become famous and a millionaire? By releasing a sex tape. Now, I'm not suggesting that's a way to make $1 million before anyone thinks that's a business venture. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying those are the people that society is idolizing, or it's placed in front of us to idolize. I know who my role models are. I know what drives me forward. I know this world is screwed up. But each and every one of you right now has incredible, incredible potential. Each and every one of you has a why, even if you don't know what it is yet. Each and every one of you knows there is a direction. You may be spinning your wheels. You may be just circling the parking lot, not knowing where the exit is so you can get on the highway. But you know there is a destination. You may not even know what that destination is yet. It doesn't matter. But you guys have the potential to be ambassadors of hope, to be the people that you've always wanted to be. If you close your eyes right now and just project yourself forward 5 years and think, you know what? I wouldn't mind being in that nice house, or debt-free, or my kids in college, or my parents are retired, or I'm retired. I don't have to stress about all this bullshit that life is throwing at me because I am mastering life. I'm not letting life master me. That is the success mindset. That is the drive that every successful entrepreneur, millionaire, billionaire, heck, anyone who's had success, even if they're just starting out, that's the mindset that I want for each and every one of you. And each and every one of you can achieve whatever that success means to you. All you have to do is know where you want to be, get off your asses, take a step forward, take another step forward, and eventually you'll get there. There's no participation trophies for life. Success is within each and every one of you. And each and every one of you can achieve it. All you got to do is go ahead and seize it. So after that dramatic pause at the end there, let's switch this over to live questions and answers. Let's rock and roll. Let's have some fun. And if you've got a question, and if no one else can help you, let's have a look and see what we can do. So first, I'm going to lower everyone's hand, okay? Now, if you've got a question and you'd like to ask me live, make sure you got a headset, make sure you got a mic, and let's rock and roll from there. So let's see. We have first up this evening, Jerry. How you doing, Jerry?
Well, now, I got to pick a bone with you on something.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. You
Now,
cannot
now,
really say...
I'm going to say that my finger's hovering over the mute button in case you get too raucous, but go ahead. I'm joking. I'm messing with you.
You can't really think that Cassius Clay was a better champion than Rocky Marciano.
Oh, well, if you're going to get into boxing, you know what? I am a huge Rocky Marciano fan as well. I'm just using an analogy of that everyone will know Muhammad Ali, but yes, any of the boxers will suit that. So I could have said Rocky Marciano. I could have said Mike Tyson or Frank Bruno, Lennox Lewis. Yes, I like my heavyweights.
Yeah, but Marciano had 49 fights, won them all, and 43 by knockout.
Well, that's a bloody good record indeed.
No one can touch that. Anyways, a quick question now. What is the best way to put something up on your site that you want to let your list get a hold of?
You mean just for a download?
Yes.
Just you can throw it in FTP and then just include a link to it. That's sometimes the best way, because here's the thing. Most people aren't going to share, if you're giving away a free report or thing like that, most people aren't going to share the link to that. One thing I do is I use Amazon S3, and I use a couple of little scripts that protect and secure some of my links, but it depends what it's going to be and what your end goal is. If it's just a giveaway for a list, then just throw it up on your server via FTP and link to it, and that's it.
Okay.
Awesome stuff. And
how would I word that on the server? Where would I put it?
Oh, you can call it anything you like, but you can put it in your, as long as it's in the same path as your website, you're okay. So say, for example, and just to give you, I'll do a quick example here. 1 second. Let me do this. Say, for example, I had a file called, I don't know, let's just call it let's just call it Rockstar Report .pdf. I would upload it, so it would be imsuccesscenter.com/Rockstar Report, or maybe I create a folder called Downloads, and then I put it in that folder. But as long as you've not got any spaces and any weird characters, usually you're okay.
Okay.
Simple as that. Keep it simple. That's one thing, guys. Always keep it simple. Thanks a lot, Jerry. I appreciate it.
I got one other quick thing. I figured the
Welcome.
single malt scotch, if I got a really expensive bottle, would get you to Chicago.
Well, you know what? If I ever get to Chicago, I'll buy the scotch and we'll both have a drink. Awesome.
Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Good stuff. And yeah, I owe Jerry a drink. Okay, let's go with Ivan. Go ahead, Ivan. What's your question this evening, sir?
Good night, Sean. And my question is, what will be the top 5 books you will recommend that every entrepreneur should read?
Oh, blimey, that's a good question. I've got lots. You know, there's a couple. I'll tell you what, guys. One thing I do is I listen. Not only do I read a lot of books, I also listen to a lot of books. I have a lot through Audible. If I was going to give 5 off the top of my head, I probably have dozens. But 2 of the ones I like is Good to Great, which is a fantastic book. That's about what makes a good company, and good is the evil of great. If you want to be a great company, what do great companies do that good companies don't? It's a great, great book. I can't remember the author's name. Another one is 15 Habits. A lot of people have heard of this one by Dr. Stephen Covey, 15 Habits of Highly Effective People. Is it 15?
7?
Oh, 7 Habits. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of another book he wrote, which are 15 something else.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm getting it. 7 Habits. Yes, thank you. And I'm thinking about his other book. He's got 15 Habits of something else. 15 Habits of Highly Successful Network Marketers. I'm sorry. So 7 Habits. Another one I like is, let me think, the other one. I hate to say it. Another one that I read all the time, The Art of War. There's a version which ties The Art of War to business. If you want to talk about strategy, mindset, and everything else, absolutely phenomenal, especially for business. Another one, I'm trying to think about the other ones I have, and I don't have any on my desk right now. For financial intelligence, this is a really good one, but it's... if you want to talk about financial intelligence, one I have on my desk is the Reminiscence. I can't spell this. 1 second. Okay. I'm going to type this one out because it's one of those ones I'm going to screw up otherwise. I need to get the font size up. Okay, I'm going to type this out. Reminiscences of a Stock Operator by William J. O'Neill. Very, very good book on financial intelligence. Another one which a lot of people like and is very good, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And some of the other ones he has in that series are very, very good. Let me think. Other ones are 21 Secrets of Millionaires. And that's by Brian Tracy. But the other thing, I'll tell you one of my best, you know what, if I had my iTunes on this computer or on this side, I would pull up all my audiobooks, but one of the things I do a lot is audible.com, and you can get unlimited business mindset books. I even hate to say it, I listen to Tony Robbins. Yeah, and there's all sorts of stuff that you can just listen to. I mean, even the average American drives the equivalent of 15 days a year in their car. Now, if you think about that, that's 15 days that you could cram in with audiobooks while you're driving. My car becomes a mobile university. You can cram a lot of time into that, where you can continuously be learning, studying, and stuff like that. So that's a few books, but what I'll do is I'll go through my library, I'll pick out some really good things, and I'll put a list under this Ask Sean session, and I'll see if I can find some links to them as well for everyone. Will that help? Warren Buffett is actually a very good, and yes, Paul, you're right, Jim Collins was the author. I couldn't remember the name of.
They're not books.
Okay, cool. And there's Think Like a Billionaire, Donald Trump. I've actually got a few of his books because I like his style. He's an arrogant bastard, but I like his style. And there is, and Tam is actually giving me a couple of quotes I want to share with everyone real quick. This one is actually by an author, C.S. Lewis. Hardships often prepare ordinary people for extraordinary destiny, which is a great quote. And the difference between try and triumph is a little oomph. And that is very, very true. So think about that. And yeah, I'll hopefully that'll help you, Ivan, with a couple of good starting points. And then we can rock on from there. So thanks very much for your question. I appreciate it.
Thanks for your answer, Sean.
Awesome stuff. But yeah, guys, Audible, it's like 20, is it 29 bucks or 20?
No, it's $14.95.
Oh, $14.95 a month. And I get a lot of stuff from there. I've got a lot of credits, and I've downloaded probably dozens upon dozens of books.
It steals my credits.
And I even steal my wife's credits. So always good fun. But yeah, it's great because I'll be working away. I mean, I'll be working, coding or building stuff or doing whatever I do here. And I'll be listening to an Audible book while I'm working, and it just sits in there, Your brain is an incredible computer. My wife actually, now here's the thing, as some of you guys know, I have sleep apnea. And I got on such a kick with Audible books. I even got one of those, they're like running sweatband headphones, so you got the band that goes around your head. I was going to listen to that even while I sleep to get subliminal programming so I can absorb it while I sleep, which does work, by the way. But she saw me hooked up to the sleep app machine with this, and it looked like she was sleeping next to R2-D2 or something like that. And she was just like, okay, enough is enough. You cannot program your brain 24 hours a day. Well, I would if I could. If I could jack into the matrix and download all the knowledge I could cram into my brain, I would. But that's, again, that's a passion. That I love to learn. I love that kind of stuff. So, yeah, under the pillow speakers. There you go, June. I should have done that instead. But there's some great stuff out there. There's some great stuff out there. And I will put a list under this Ask Sean session because there are some good ones I would recommend highly, both Audible and physical books as well. So anyway, let's go. I'm going to go over to Alan real quick. Go ahead, Alan. What's your question this evening or comment?
Hi, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir.
All right. I was just wondering, last couple of days, I'm not sure if you've been listening or paying attention or not, but there's been this big controversy with Paula Deen, the cook. I don't know if you've
Yes.
heard of her or not.
Yes, yes.
And I was seeing how, what has happened with her is that she made a unfortunate racial slur of some kind, and it pretty much has destroyed her brand. And companies such as Smithfield Hams and have been dropping her, and some other big companies that she's built up over many years. So it got me to thinking, in this IM industry, there's all kinds of traps and pitfalls and things that you can get yourself into. I was wondering, I mean, can you give us any advice as to how we could have, have you heard of these situations occurring in our industry, and can you give us some tips on perhaps things we could do to maybe avoid, not the racial slurs obviously, but I'm just thinking, are there things that we need to be wary of so that we don't get caught in something where we destroy our brand?
That's a bloody good question, and I'm going to say that is probably one of the best questions we have had here in the Inner Circle. One thing you'll notice that I always avoid, even in the Inner Circle chat room, on Facebook or anything else, is I avoid some of the biggest controversial subjects. I avoid talking about religion, race. I avoid talking about politics where possible. And sometimes in business you can't avoid it. And I don't want to get involved in things where you have to be on one side or the other. Here's the thing, social dynamics, social intelligence will determine where you fall. You put a very strong barrier between your professional business, your brand, and your personal life. Now, with people like Paula Deen, and they are edified as experts in their field, and they're put up on a pedestal. Now, she already had a big controversy because she, just using Paula Deen as a reference, she was known for cooking some of the greatest Southern food out there. And hey, guess what? Put some butter on it, and cook it in butter, fry it up in butter. And you know what? I love what she cooked. But then she came down, she was diagnosed with diabetes. What happened? Everyone was like gunning for Paula Deen because she got diabetes. And it was, obviously it was because of the way she cooked and the way she ate, which is absolute bullshit. But she ended up with diabetes. What did she do? She treated it. She lost a ton of weight, and she was back badder than ever. She actually overcame that. Now, what happened now is she said something kind of stupid. I don't actually know what she said. I haven't been following it. I've kind of been following it from the sidelines. But yeah, she destroyed her brand by doing something incredibly stupid.
She said it 30 years ago.
But she said something 30 years ago. Apparently she said something 30 years ago.
Yeah,
Now, I'm not going to say that not one person out here has said something in private or to someone that they wouldn't want being said in public. I know I've said plenty of stupid things that I wouldn't want people to know about. Christ, I do it about 100 times a day. If Tam was ever recording, we'd have a problem here. But and hey, then again, half of my videos, if I actually left half my swearing when I cock up a video recording and I screw it up and that went out, well, it either caused hilarity or people would be shocked. So the thing is that all you can do is do your best. Avoid things that are going to be controversial. Avoid things that are, there's nothing wrong with injecting a little controversy, but don't do the things that are going to piss people off. Now, Tam, you've got a comment, honey.
I was going to say Facebook, about having a persona on Facebook, and when you're there, you're live to the world. Don't mix your public and private. Just Big Brother's always watching. Your customers are always watching.
Absolutely. Keep, just your online and everything you do, you're a living brand in many ways. Now, you can hide behind a business name, and lots of people do, but if you're going to be the brand, live that brand. Live that way. That's it. And, stuff you do.
Sean?
Yeah.
Just on that point, and
Sure.
what Tamara said there, do you think it's worthwhile then for us to have our, you mentioned Facebook as a persona. Should we have a business persona on Facebook and then have our own private persona for our friends and our family?
Well, remember that they can be a merge, because your customers can also be your friends, especially in the IM industry. And if you piss off, if you do something like, I've got a friend who everything they do is apolitical, and it's extreme political. I don't want to see their stuff mixing on my wall ever. And so I keep a very firm line between that. But then again, if you've got your customers or your friends or business partners who might also friend you on Facebook and see stuff being posted on your wall or in your feed, if there's any way they see that stuff in relation to you, it's guilt by association. So I like to keep a very firm line. You'll see I don't talk much about my family stuff on my wall or on my personal stuff. It's because I keep that stuff private. When I'm a businessman, when I'm out in public, when I'm talking to people, the only people I talk about the most close stuff with my family, my private life, is with my family and my private. And I do that away from where anyone else who's not in that circle can see it.
Well, I mean, that's a good point, but the thing is a lot of people, and a lot of people, are on Facebook, and the purpose of using Facebook is so they can communicate with their families and friends. So, you know, if what you're saying is that you should keep that all private, but that kind of flies against the purpose of Facebook. So, I think I'm just wondering, you know, is it worthwhile having two personas, where you have one that's private and you have one that's for your business?
That's a good question, Tammy. You're going to say something, hon?
Well, I was going to say, I don't keep all my family stuff private, just things I wouldn't want anybody to know. I mean, I don't go on there and complain about, you know, maybe I'll say I had a bad day or it was a tough day, but I'm not cussing and chewing someone out. You know, I'm not going into drama meltdown or getting into an argument with someone on Facebook or posting, you know, yeah, you can see who my sister-in-laws are, my brother-in-law, my mother. You can see all that, but I'm never going to have a heavy-duty political thing or make a nasty comment. As long as it's lighthearted, funny, not too in-depth, you can cross your lines because you got to have a personal Facebook page in order to have your fan page. And they are connected, and people can figure it out. So it's not that you can't have a personal persona. It's that you need to be aware that people are watching both sides. So fine, be personal, but don't get too in depth. You know,
don't wear your business. Don't wear your life on your sleeve like a lot of people do. You know,
Yeah.
I've seen people go crazy with that and basically tell you everything they're doing. They're having an emotional meltdown. What they had for breakfast. My brother and his lovely wife share stuff that I wouldn't be sharing with my wife in front of the public as well, and it makes me absolutely bust my gut laughing sometimes. But because of what we do in business, it's not stuff that I would be sharing with the world, and it just makes you take a second look. But that stuff reflects on you, especially when you're in Facebook groups, because you have to be there under your personal name, not your business name. So you're going to attract the people you surround yourself with. And so you've just got to be aware of, not going like Paula Deen in public, so to speak. And that's, social media allows you to go say whatever the hell you want. Just doesn't necessarily mean you should.
Well, we have, I even have a private Pinterest board where there's plenty of stuff I'd like to share with my friends and family that I think is funny that may have a cuss word in it or something that wouldn't be appropriate for me to share with everybody. Try and keep things pretty much G-rated or a little bit risque, but not too far. Don't step too far over that line. And then, so Pinterest finally came out with secret boards. So things that I think are funny that might be a little off color one way or another, and I wouldn't share with everybody, but I share them with my mom. We have a funny board that we share together, but we can't, and we call it "Can't Pin This." And so we can share together privately. I wouldn't do that on Facebook because I don't trust Facebook as far as I'm concerned. But,
Okay, I think that's the message.
Yeah.
Is that I'm getting from you guys is that Facebook is open to the world, so even if you have two personas, you're still out there.
Yeah.
You keep, if it's something that you don't want people to hear or you're embarrassed to say in front of a big crowd, you shouldn't say it on Facebook.
Yeah,
That's exactly, if I had to put it in a nutshell, that's exactly it. Because you've got, at the end of the day, it's not difficult. There's plenty of systems and computer software out there that you could literally put in someone's name and an approximate location, and it will go and compile you an entire social profile of that person. And sometimes it's scarily accurate because of all the information we put out there. So once it goes out, finds you on YouTube, the comments you've made on blogs, your Facebook stuff, your Twitter and it starts compiling all of that, you'll be shocked at what you've said and what comes back to bite you in the ass, and the embarrassing Cancun photo with you and the stripper and the goat in Uzbekistan. I mean, I was so scared when I did that. I forgot all about that goat. So you never know what's going to come back and bite you in the ass.
That is very. I didn't know that existed, but it makes sense that it exists. And that's a very scary thought. Thank you.
Oh, it is. It is.
Well, when you're on social...
You should have seen what I found out about you, Alan. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'm sure you've got me marked now.
Well, it's the same as being at a business party. You might be saying personal things, and maybe they're not about work, but you're certainly not going to tell them your life. So you got to, once you're in business and you're out in the world, you're always on. They don't stop looking at you just because you think you're relaxed. Somebody will find it,
And I guarantee one day I'm going to screw up and I'm going to put the prelude, before the mic goes on for the Ask Sean session, where you hear me cursing and swearing. It's like, where did I put this bloody microphone? Okay, shut those damn dogs up, and all the other stuff that goes along with it. I mean, it's the stuff that when the mic's on, you're on. When the mic's off, hope no one's recording.
Okay, just one last point on this.
Yeah.
The thing is what I was also thinking too was the Warrior Forum. That's a place where a lot of people have an awful lot of opinions and say a lot of very strange stuff.
That's polite. That's a polite way to do it.
Over glove time.
And I was wondering, is that a place we ought to stay away from, or what?
Put it this way: there are some successful people on the Warrior Forum, and plenty of people who just like to hear their own voice. And I've said this to Alan before, because I have very strong opinions about the Warrior Forum. If I've got their domain on back order, so if they ever slip, I'm going to take that website down, okay? Because it is, while it helps some people, it destroys many people's chances of success. Now, there's nothing wrong, if you're doing something and there's people with opinions, everyone's entitled to opinion. There's not that I want to censor anything, but it is the biggest, most impactful forum that destroys people's chances of actually really succeeding. Now, a lot of people get torn apart on there unjustly. A lot of people get torn apart with full justification. All you can do, if you're a vendor or you're doing anything in regards to a product launch, is do your best, help as many people as you can, but your customer service is never done on the Warrior Forum. And honestly, you can do reputation management if there's a problem. Direct people across to wherever you want them to go to get help, but don't engage profusely on the Warrior Forum, because you will never get out.
That's a social skill.
And that's part of social intelligence right there. It's a case of, hey, you've got a problem? No problem. Just let us know. We'll be happy to help, and leave it at that. There are people who are going to bitch. They're going to complain. Every squeaky wheel gets the grease. But for me, I avoid it as much as possible. I used to launch all the time on the Warrior Forum. I actually cut my chops in many ways on the Warrior Forum to start with. I've got over, I think, 2,500 posts on there. But you know what? There's no way in hell I would ever launch on the Warrior Forum again. And the only time I go on there is if someone's posting up a storm and bitching up a storm, and I will go in there to see what's going on, respond maybe once or twice, and then I ignore it. That's it. Just put my voice in there and opinion. Hey, if anyone's got a problem, no problem. We're here to help. Just let us know. Here's where you go.
Call that the velvet glove.
Yeah, the velvet glove. So, it's just, again, and it's all about your business. It's not coming in there to engage in a flame war. Just go in there, be professional. Don't descend into any flame wars that might be there, or anyone bitching up a storm. You can respond to a direct point if it's relevant, but if it's someone who's just shouting off to shout off and justify their own existence, I ignore it. I got plenty of other things to do, plenty of other people who actually want my help and are more than willing to be helped.
Well, that's great advice, Sean. Thank you very much for the answer.
No problem. And that was a very, very, very good question, Alan. I really, truly appreciate that, because that. And now, guys, you're probably wondering, okay, well, that explains why he's done what he does on the Warrior Forum, and why he sometimes, if you've ever seen any of the people complaining. Here's the thing: no matter who you are, the bigger you get, the more people are going to complain, just because you've got a greater pool. But I'll tell you right now, the complaints, just about myself, for example, I've had to deal with every name called under the sun. Here's the thing: as soon as you succeed, you make enemies. People hate you. People are jealous. I've had people call me every name under the sun. And you know what? Sometimes I screw up. Sometimes there's a problem and it happens and it gets out of control and people are very vocal about it. Absolutely. You know what? If there's a problem, I actually want to know about it so I can solve that problem. But when people are just bitching to bitch and complain to complain, oh, well, I try to help you. That's fine. Okay, fine. You know, it's one of those things. I was speaking to a very, I'm not going to name drop, but I was speaking to a very famous author today, and he's one of the authors that appear on this page right here, right now, on one of these books. And he said, sometimes you can lead a horse to water, sometimes you have to drag it, sometimes you have to grab it by the ear and force its head underwater and hope that it takes a breath. For me, I will lead a horse to water. If it doesn't want to drink, I'll go get another horse. I'll find another horse that does want to drink. And that's what it's all about. I will help those that want to be helped. For those that don't, then I'll find this. Believe me, there are billions of people on this planet that need help.
There's too many
I'll find
people
someone else.
that want to go through life in caps lock mode. You can't just worry about them.
Absolutely. You know, you get a thick skin. When I first started, it was a nightmare. I was worried about every single comment. I took it so personally, and I can't tell you how many times I got really, really depressed. When there was a problem and people are really just calling me all the names under the sun, and you work so hard.
And one of it's not even justified.
Oh, no, absolutely not. In fact, 90% of it is complete BS. It's just, you know, you work so hard. You work, you know, you've put 100, 200, 1,000 hours into developing a product that's going to help people. And the entire reason I run my business is to help as many people as possible. And then you just see just some of the most insane stuff coming out, and the most insane personal insults. I mean, I had someone, and I don't know if I even know if I told my wife this, that wished, they were just nasty things for me and my family, okay? Why? And now I just shake it off. It's like, yeah, I won't use the word I was going to use there. But when you first see stuff like that, you're like, what kind of human being are you? Why would you say something? And took it incredibly personally. And you just get really, really upset by it, but you can't. You've got to have a thick skin. When you're in business, even if you have the most moderate success, there are people who are going to tear you up and down. I mean, I did it tonight to poor Kim Kardashian, you know, and Lindsay Lohan, you know. I don't know Kim Kardashian. I don't know her from Adam. I only know what I know in public. And again, that public persona has made me form my opinion. People are going to do that. That's the way of life. But at the end of the day, you run your business your way. You have your why. You know what you want to do. You know who you're trying to help. You've got your goals. You've got your dreams. There are people who love what you do. Those are the people you focus on, not the people who won't be helped or can't be helped. Otherwise, you're just going to sink. Don't let it. It's just like being a 4x4 when you're in loose sand. You just got to drop it down a gear, keep on plowing through it, and leave that sand behind. That's all you can do. So, wow, that got incredibly emotionally deep, didn't it? Okay, so we'll go over to Don Miner. Don, hopefully you've got something a little more lighthearted there for me.
Yeah, I do have a question, too, on top of it. But anyway, I find it kind of amusing that we live in a society that has a school that teaches everybody to be average, and basically that failure is such a bad thing when it's one of the best teachers that there is. The failure you don't forget when you fail. So
Yeah,
That's
because-
it.
really, it's a landmark there that you know where, well, not what to do next time. That's for sure.
And that's
You
it.
know, many millionaires have filed bankruptcies 2 or 3 times before they succeeded in finally becoming what they are today. So
Well, your average millionaire has been bankrupt twice, at least, before they got to where they are. And there's many millionaire who started off homeless, living in a car.
that's precisely. I mean, if you don't try, you're never going to get anywhere. Basically, the school's teaching you, hey, you better know what you're doing before you do anything, so don't try, basically. And
Exactly. And, schools
But here's
teach you
your
about...
trophy.
Yeah, but here's your trophy just for turning up. No, schools will basically teach you to a test. There's no tests in life. You've got one shot at it. That's it. You've got one shot at life. Just do what you do, and you learn as you go, and you'll fall flat on your face. You just get back up. You keep on trying.
Yep, you know not to do that the second time. So.
Exactly. Exactly. So what's your question? Do you have a question, sir? Or,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My main question was the reason why I asked you. Thinking digital products and stuff, and you're trying to lock them down on their website. What is the best way to go about doing that?
Now, if you want to lock down a digital product for delivery, is that what you want to do?
Well, say if I'm selling a product and I want to deliver it out there, and I want to keep everybody from finding it. I know a lot of times it gets found in the search engine one way or another, or somehow someone sticks a link out there, and then it's stuck out there, and everybody in the world seems to find it. So,
Well, this is what I use. I use a thing called S3 Flow Shield. And what it allows me to do is I put it up on Amazon, and it's a WordPress plugin, but it allows me to literally lock things down so that it generates a unique link every time. And I think this is, there actually is a free one, I think. But I'm just trying to remember how much this one is. It doesn't actually tell you here.
But you have to have S3 to do it, right?
You have to have Amazon S3, which costs pennies, by the way, if you're doing digital downloads. But I want to see how much this one is. Oh, it's $97. But if I go to WordPress.org, plugins, okay, let me just go here. I think there is, oh, that's not a good sign.
no.
Okay, well, I didn't do that. Okay. Wow. WordPress.com is all screwed up. Okay. Let me do S3. Let me see if it even comes up with the search results. No, I guess they're all buggered up at the moment, but there are a couple of plugins out there that might be for free that will allow you to do that. See if I can find it. I know one. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Oh, S3 expiring URL generator. That might be one that you can use. My good grief. But yeah, WordPress.org is all buggered up at the moment. But
Explain why I can't update.
there you go. But yeah, there's ones like that that will generate secure links for you, and then you can deliver from Amazon S3.
Okay. Alrighty, that's what I wanted to know.
Awesome stuff. Well, thank you very much. Good question. Good question. But yeah, using Amazon or a secure service like that works pretty well, and you can lock things down very, very quickly. Okay, let's go over to Ed. Ed, what's your question this evening, sir? How can I help you?
Hey, Sean, how are you tonight?
Doing good.
I gotta laugh at your what you talked about tonight is basically what I'm making a video of right now. My first video to go up on YouTube or actually go to my site. So that was great to know that at least I'm on the right path there.
Well, there you go. That's awesome.
That's fantastic. So what I'm calling about is this. I am trying to develop my list. I'm looking at some of your old programs that you've done, like, for example, I just went all through Simple Cache Magnet, which I know is a couple of years old, but it's great information in it. So I'm trying to build the subscriber list also. Here's my question. And also I want to start working on launches with how you do the launches, those kind of things like you sent out today. But what do I use for my URLs, my domain names? Can I use subdomains instead of keep buying domains all the time for these, or do I have to have a new domain each time? Or will Google not like that?
I prefer using a unique domain name every time for different cache magnets and things like that, because I like to get some SEO traction with what I do. But you can use subdomains, absolutely. It depends on how you want to drive traffic to it. If you don't want to use search engine optimization and you just want to use direct, like solo mails or ad buys or anything like that, you can use subdomains. I just like using unique domains if I'm going to get any SEO traction.
Okay.
And
So
that
if
way,
I was going to do it, like, if I was going to try to participate in your launch you're doing right now, like on July 15th, I want to build a squeeze page or landing page and come up with a unique domain name. If I'm going to start building up my lists and put some squeeze pages out there by giving away some things and like that, I want to have a separate name for that also. Is that correct? The best way?
you know, if you're doing squeeze pages and that's the main way you want to get people in, those don't rank very well anyway, so CNAMEs would be fine for that.
Okay. Well, what's the best way then to participate in a launch then, like what you do?
Well, I'm going to be quite honest. One of the best ways is to create a blog, a review blog or something like that, or maybe some information about Rapid Content Wizard, a few blog posts here, get something with a keyword loaded domain, and see if you can get that ranked between now and July 15th when Alan and I launch Rapid Content Wizard. But there's all sorts of other ways you could do, like on a normal, if you've got an internet marketing blog, a few reviews about that and some articles and content about it. Some, you know, you put on the video that we allow to be embedded. There's many, many different ways. It depends on what your focus is. If you've got a list, then just a list blast can sometimes do very, very well. Maybe you want to set up a Facebook campaign or a Facebook fan page about Rapid Content Wizard. Maybe you just want to buy some traffic. It really varies depending on where your comfort zone is and what you want to do. There's many, many different ways to skin the cat.
Sorry, that's where I'm having a big problem right now, is getting that. You know, I just went out and bought Authority Pro, which you recommended, and that's solved my problem of developing the squeeze pages and landing pages. It's just now of getting the list going now. So that's what I'm just trying to get into right now. So,
yeah, I mean, yeah, I was going to say the Authority Pro is a very good little tool. I'm actually trying, like I said, I think I mentioned last week, I'm trying to negotiate with Mark Thompson and Ross Carroll to see if I can license that one from them. But yeah, I mean, it's a great way to get started. Just see if you can drive some traffic to it, maybe some targeted traffic from Facebook or retargeted traffic. There's all sorts of different things you can do. You know, give them something of value. Maybe the 10 secrets you didn't know about Rapid Content Wizard. I don't know. You can come up with something. Or, you know, maybe you've got a little bonus where you've put some extra training videos together for Rapid Content Wizard. There's all sorts of little things you could do. So yeah, you could do that.
Yeah, I say I'm trying to get started. I don't quit too easy, so I'm just gonna keep plugging along here till I get this right. So
there you go. And go ahead, Sam. What were you going to say, bud?
Talking about that targeted traffic, be kind to your affiliate. You know, make sure it's targeted, not enemy.
Oh yeah, well, Sam was saying that, you know, make sure you target if you do any purchase traffic, make sure it's targeted, not just everyone on the internet. One of the campaigns I ran recently followed my some of my affiliates to their dating sites, to like ESPN, just because I wanted to literally blanket them and stuff like that. It was following them everywhere they went. So yeah, you gotta keep in mind about. Sorry, what you saying there, honey? Just
the JVZoo percentages where they judge you because somebody sent broadcast traffic and then it lowers.
Oh yeah. That's a good point. One thing that a lot of people try to do on some of our launches is buy tons and tons of junk traffic. And this is going to answer your question here, Fabio. What we're going to do is, if anyone from the inner circle who doesn't have a long track history in JVZoo and affiliate marketing, we might not approve them on the first day. The reason being is we've had a lot of people who buy masses of junk traffic and throw at it, which kills our percentages when we launch. So we're going to have to be, if you don't have lots or previous experience and you have to tell us exactly how you plan to promote it so that we can approve you before that 48-hour holding period we do. Otherwise, we end up with it killing our percentages. We had one gentleman who bought, I think, about 10,000 junk pieces of traffic, didn't make a sale, but he killed our percentages right off the bat. And when you're launching, it's all about those percentages. So if you are an Inner Circle member and you are looking to promote Rapid Content Wizard, if you're not approved immediately, private message me and tell me exactly how you plan to promote, and you bloody well better stick to that, and then I'll approve you, okay? But it will be, if you don't have a lot of track history, it will be on delayed payment because we've also got to make sure everything's cool. So anyway, with that being said, hopefully that answers your question there.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks, Sean.
Awesome stuff. Well, thank you very much, Ed. Appreciate it. Okay. Now, with that being said, let me go up and down the scale just a little bit here. And what I'll do now is, let's see, I'm just going to go over here, do a couple of more questions, and then we'll rock and roll. I'm going to go up and down the scale just a teeny bit, see who we got here. Okay, I'm going to go with Paul. Go ahead, Paul. What's your question here this evening?
Well, hi, Sean. A couple of quick comments first. Can't help but jump in. One is on reputation management you were discussing earlier.
Yes, you know, I was thinking about you when I was talking about that. Go ahead.
Oh, you know of my reputation. Well, I had a new customer call me today that when I asked her how she found me, she found my website. She was searching in Google. But not only did she do that, she read every single word on my website, and then she Googled my name.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, of course, I'm very careful about that and what's showing up on those. Not that there's bad stuff out there about me, but I'm very careful to make sure what shows up are things that I put there. So that just goes along with what you were saying about Facebook, and I wanted to add to that Google Plus is even worse.
Yes, it is.
My 9-year-old granddaughter joined Google Plus, and I added her to one of my circles. And when you Googled my name for about a month, it talked about my granddaughter being in one of my circles. Just
Good.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, they are very open, and I am very careful about Google Plus just for that very reason.
Or Minecraft posts.
Or Minecraft posts. There you go. Yeah, that's the other one.
Right. The second thing I wanted to mention was about subdomains. I've actually started using them again because I've been having trouble getting pages that I put in folders indexed. But they actually are indexing my subdomains, and they're coming up in the search results.
Perfect.
Now, I'm not using them for different things. They're all related to the same, topics, but still they are working. But my question was originally, I have Promote Me Pro loaded on my subdomains, and I still have the original version, 1.04, I think it was. I've been on vacation for the last week, so I'm a little out of touch. Has the update come out yet?
Yes, there has been an update, and we've got another one coming out shortly as well. There were a couple of plugins, kind of off-the-wall plugins that were conflicting, and those ones we're just working on. We wanted to get the main core function one out first, but yeah, there are updates available. They should be automatic, but if not, go ahead and re-download and overwrite the files. You'll be good to go.
Okay, I didn't see anything in my WordPress install saying there was an update available.
Yeah, it should be automatic. So you might have to go to if you go to updates and check again, see if it pops up.
In WordPress?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Okay, because I went into JVZoo. Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, there's a little button in the update section that says check again. You can press that button, and it should scan to see if there's any other updates. It kind of forces it just in case the cron job is not working or something like that does the random updates.
Okay, I'll take a look at that. Thank you so much.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And yeah, we've noticed that on some installations that sometimes with plugins that are not inside the normal WordPress directory, in other words, like on the WordPress.org plugins list, sometimes you have to do that check again, especially with 3.51 and 3.52, there's been a couple of little hiccups they're meant to be fixing. So if you haven't got an update notice, do try that and see if that works for anyone else. Okay, so I'm going to go up and down. Let me go with Jill. Jill, go ahead, sir. What's your question this evening?
Hi, Tom. How are you?
Doing great.
Good, super. One comment, one question.
Okay.
The comment was I've heard today about Google admitting that they had a bug in their system in Webmaster Tools, and the bug would stop showing links to sites.
Yes. I heard about that today as well, and I just had to sit in my chair and laugh.
Okay. Second question I have, I'm having a little bit of an argument with. I've got I built a website, and the home page has 10 H1 links, 10 H1 tags. I'm sorry.
Ooh, okay, that's a lot.
That's a lot, and shouldn't there just be one tag?
Ideally,
H1?
Ideally, yes. Should only have really one per page. Now you can get. It doesn't really. It can have an a negative SEO impact. You can get away with it, but I would say it's not the end of the world. But preferably, you would only have one.
Okay. I just sent you a link of that site. I was wondering, if you can see it or.
Okay, I'll just pull it up. And while I'm doing that, go ahead, Tab. What was your question, hon?
Well, along that vein, what about like archives? You know, when you get an H1 title and it's a list of snippets?
Mm-hmm. It can have a negative impact just because Google only likes to see one H1 and then multiple H2s and then multiple H3s, because H1 is like your top tier title of the page.
So it affects your blog page, blog compendium, you know. Like
Yes.
Blog is the H1 and then all your snippet titles should be H2s.
Yeah, that kind of helps, but you can't. Most templates kind of know how to do that, but some don't. You know, it's then depends on that. So, what were you going to point me at here, Jill?
Okay, so the top part is an H1 tag, of course, the big Best Buy tablet. But every other little pictures, if you, for example, if you, this is an H1 tag, what you're pointing at. All of the titles are all H1 tag.
Okay.
Is there a way to go? Is there a way to go around this?
It's down to the template. So let me have a look here. Yeah, that is an H1 tag indeed. What you can possibly do is find someone or yourself to go in here into whichever file this is and change it to H1 to H2. If you see here, okay, this is going a little geeky, but they have a class called title, which is overriding it. You might be able to find where this is in templates and change it to H2 and play around with the CSS and the templates and change it, but you don't, you can have some fun with that and just do a little tweak here and there. That will give you the weight that you want.
Okay. Now you just did something seconds ago here. What did you do?
This is something that's built into Firefox.
Okay.
I can take an element, I can right-click on it and click Inspect Element.
I'll be darned. This is going to be handy.
Yeah, and it's built into Firefox already, but it allows me to inspect different things to see how they're constructed, what CSS is affecting it, so I can find it. And then I showed this off the other week, but it's so damn cool, I'm going to do it again. This allows you to do a three-dimensional model of your page and how it's built up so that you can see all the different elements and you can navigate through things and find out, okay, for example, if I wanted to find where that RSS button was, I'd click on the button, and you can see it jumps into the code, tells me exactly where it is and what's affecting it. So you can literally just click on any random element. I could even go see all these different layers. I can see, I can click what's underneath if I've got a problem to find out, okay, where is it? It's a geek tool, but I love it.
I guess so, yeah. Okay. And what else did I have? I had one other question. I've been IMSC, the support, MSC support,
Okay.
there seem to be, I don't know if they're getting all our email. I've been emailing on the one issue on you know, like a local link builder.
Uh-huh.
The mail part of LLB is not working with the WordPress.com, I think it's called.
Ah, okay. WordPress.com might be filtering. Are you using the SMTP version?
No, I'm using the LLB version.
Okay. Try it with SMTP.
I did.
Okay, and it wasn't working. It might be that just WordPress.com is not accepting the format. I'll have to look into that. WordPress.com is kind of funny. It does a lot of automatic blocking of certain stuff. They're a pain in the butt sometimes.
Okay.
Can you post normally via a normal email to WordPress.com?
Yes.
Then it might be what's called the X headers. Do me a favor. PM me your ticket ID. I know that if you're emailing them, I don't know if that's going to get processed. Usually we run it through the ticket system directly. I don't know if you're just going to the ticket system and sending in a ticket. Okay. Then send me your ticket ID, and then I'll make sure it gets top priority with them, and I'll make sure, see what's going on there, and put one of our coders on it.
Okay, and the I email it to support at IMSC?
No, just private message me in Skype.
Okay.
Send me your ticket ID, and that way I can bring it up with my support team and make sure it's taken care of.
Done.
Awesome
I'll get it
stuff.
done. All right, well, thank you so much.
Absolutely awesome. Thank you very much, Phil. And sorry, what were you going to say there, hon?
Well, back to what he was saying about the H1s.
Mm-hmm.
You know when the little WYSIWYG, you know, and you're working in your stuff and it leaves stray tags, and say you get an H1 stuck around a picture, you know, and it's just extraneous and it shouldn't be there. Does that affect you?
Funnily enough, it can, but because there's no text, what they do is they strip out all of the text between tags. So they know, okay, this one was between an H1, they'll strip it out. But if they strip out a tag and it's an image, there's nothing between the H1, there's no H1.
Okay.
If there's so with images and stray things like that, because WordPress's WYSIWYG editor will do some strange stuff like that, and you're like, what the heck is it doing? Why is that? And you suddenly find out you've got a stray H1 or H2. It can happen, but you know, it doesn't affect that badly. It's not a big deal. And at the end of the day, it's not that big an impact on the page per se. It just loses some of the focus on the keywords that you might put on there. And H1 tags have a higher priority than the body content and the H2 and everything else. So you want as much focus on the heavier hitting SEO items as possible. If you dilute it with lots of keywords, you lose the weighting of that. So, you know, it's better to try and optimize it where you can, but otherwise, yeah, you know, it's not the end of the world, like I said, but if you keep the focus where it should be, it helps you rather than hinders you. So good, you know, even good questions from the cheap seats over here.
Well, I have Ask Sean 24 hours a day.
Yeah, she's got 24-hour Ask Sean. How would that drive you nuts? Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to do one more scan and then we're going to wrap it up. And I think we're good to go. I'm just going to do a slow scan in case I missed anything. But no, I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to end the session. Thank you very much for spending your Wednesday evening with me. We'll do this again next week. And we'll rock on from there. So until then, take care, have fun. I hope you got a lot out of tonight's session, a little bit of inspiration. Throw that in there every now and again, and we'll rock and roll. Till next week, take care.